All right, we're back down with Overtime with Kevin Rinke, potential candidate for governor, and Jordyn, up to you.
So we've talked a lot about eliminating the income tax. I know last year there was an attempt, Axe My Tax. It was a ballot proposal to try and do the exact same thing, was not able to make it onto the ballot. You know, you talk a lot about wanting to be a change maker and an agent for change. Is this anything that you are supportive of or interested in supporting, considering it aligns a lot with what it seems that you're interested in?
Axe My Tax was a property tax elimination.
Yeah.
And I'm on record, and I'll say it again here. There's a process that Axe My Tax has to go through. Last time, when they had their proposal, they didn't meet the signature requirements in the number of days that the state requires to have it become a ballot initiative. So here's my thought on it. If, in fact, they follow the process and they get the required signatures and it becomes a proposal and the people of Michigan vote to eliminate property taxes, it's government's responsibility to be flexible enough to figure out how to run the business of the state.
But you would vote no on that.
Don't you want less taxes, Tim?
That wasn't the question. I said you would vote no on it.
Don't you want lower taxes, Tim? You're not answering my question.
You know what? You get your own TV show. You can ask me.
There you go.
Okay.
He's
got a podcast.
You know what? You're getting a little gray around the edges. Maybe I'll step in when you step out.
You could probably do it. Okay, but in all seriousness, okay, it's an easy question. Okay, if it was on the ballot, you would have voted yes or no.
I would probably vote yes for it.
Okay, why did that take me 30 seconds to get that out of you?
Because I think that people's votes are their rights, and I really don't want to say, are you going to vote for me or are you going to vote for me? I think it's counterproductive.
It is a policy issue in the arena.
Issues should compel people to act, and when they are looked at and worded properly and presented properly, you can get movement on them.
So what tax do you believe in? You don't want property tax, you don't want income tax? No, that's a fair question.
Nobody wants any taxes. Everybody wants everything for free.
That's not a rational comment. To just be like, no one wants any taxes and we shouldn't have any.
That's what keeps your libraries open, your zoos open,
Of course.
So how would you fund the things the government has to do to make sure the people, have lights on, that when they go out, police respond if there's an emergency, that the school, why are you laughing?
Because I think it's funny that in a perfect world, I would want zero taxes for you. I would want zero taxes for me. You earn your money, you spend it the way you want, and you don't have government telling you how or what. I would want perfect roads. I would want perfect schools and education.
But it's not perfect.
So, it's not. And my point is this. The likelihood of Axe My Tax passing is very, very low. You can have all sorts of arguments about how to tax property and whether or not it's right, because then it comes down to, do you own your property if you're always paying somebody else to be there, or do you own the asset that sits on your property? I think we're going to have property tax. My position is that in Michigan, the first step is to eliminate the personal income tax. That's what I'm focused on. The Axe My Tax people are going to do what they want.
Well, you would have voted yes on it.
But you got to vote too. And it's got to get to the election. Let's see what happens.
So how do you replace $12 billion in personal income tax? I think it's $14 billion now. I think it was $12 billion when you ran the first time. Might be wrong.
It's on this between 12 and $14 billion. Yeah.
So and for people who say, well, the state budget's $84 billion. Yeah. A lot of that is federal money that's coming here. The $12 billion through the income tax is really more like $12 billion out of like $40 billion. That's the general fund. That's a huge percentage.
Yeah.
And are you saying that just sales tax revenue growth? Do you think someone who's a millionaire out there and gets that income tax money back is going to spend it, or are they going to save it?
Well, in every state that personal income tax has been eliminated, again, tax revenue collections have gone up. I am not simply saying that when we eliminate personal income tax that we don't look at other segments of our tax base
and increase them
and make adjustments to them that are more appropriate. Now, people always talk about Florida. Florida has a sales tax similar to Michigan and a lower overall tax burden to the state of Michigan per citizen.
Massively different economy
Because
of tourism. I mean, we don't have.
I thought Michigan was a tourist state.
Nowhere, you know that it's
Not
nowhere
knowing that those beaches aren't down there.
near Florida.
No question, but we are a tourist state. We're a service state now. We're not a manufacturing state anymore. We should be. We could be, but I won't use a bad word. We've allowed manufacturing to creep out of the state.
Would we have to raise the sales tax then?
We might raise the sales tax.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
And then we may have to raise some fees also, just to make sure that.
No, actually, I think that we can, by reducing regulation, we can actually lower fees and have excess revenue coming in. Guys, Michigan has been strangled by government. We don't try and lead here in Michigan in anything. It appears to me that our leaders in Lansing say, what's the average of the Great Lakes states, or what's the average across America? That's not how I work. That's not how I look. That's not how you lead your state back to prosperity. And again, we have a choice: status quo and complain about it, or real change. And some of that change is going to be different. Some of that change is going to be scary. But in my view, you're going to continue to lose your primary taxpayers to other states that are more progressive in their taxing than Michigan is.
For the sake of discussion, let's assume that you decide to run for governor. Yeah. Can you win the governorship without Donald Trump's endorsement?
Yeah, absolutely.
And if he endorses somebody else, you can win.
Absolutely.
That didn't happen the last time.
Yeah, you're right. I think it's really tough to look at a primary, because I've had friends in the Democratic Party tell me that they voted in the primaries for Tudor Dixon because Gretchen wanted to go up against a woman, and abortion was the primary issue. And it absolutely torpedoed Tudor. Absolutely destroyed her, blew her out of the water. It was easy. Abortion wouldn't have been the issue with me.
Because you're pro-choice.
Well, because I was with exceptions, and because I am a male, and the woman against woman conflict would not have been in Gretchen's favor. Okay? The people of Michigan have decided. They voted in a very liberal proposal that sounded great, and it is what it is.
Mr. Rinke, what did you learn in that last race that you're going to take with you, and maybe, if you do run for governor, improve so that you are a better candidate and would be more successful this time around?
Yeah, I learned a lot about the people of Michigan. And I learned that getting them to understand and invest in you, because last time I was a self-funder, even though I had people donate $800 and some $1,000 to my campaign, it really wasn't an ask. They dug in and they believed in what I was doing. And remember, I was the second largest vote getter. Tim, in answer back to your question, if you take Garrett Soldano and Ryan Kelly out of the race, I believe, take 80% of their voters and put them to Kevin Rinke, and I beat not only the Donald Trump endorsement, but I beat Tudor Dixon, and go up against Gretchen Whitmer, and that's a fight that you guys would like to have seen.
There's a Republican candidate in the race for governor right now who's run statewide twice.
Yeah.
He's won a battleground seat in the U.S. House. Yeah. He's close with Donald Trump. John James.
Well, I don't believe that he's close with Donald Trump.
You don't believe he's close with Donald Trump?
His voting record is 58%. Look up
58% what?
Voting in conjunction with Donald Trump or conservative values. John James has name recognition a mile wide and about 1/4 of an inch deep. And what name recognition doesn't do is say who likes him or not. I'm from Macomb County, and I think John James made a tactical mistake by taking the money of the people of Macomb County to say, I want to be your congressman. And 60 days after he gets in on Donald Trump's coattails, says, I don't want to be your congressman anymore. I want to run for governor.
Wait, what? He was in one term, and now he's in a second term.
In a second term. He announced 60 days.
Oh, you're talking about his second term. Okay,
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and
well,
by the way...
Why are you a better candidate than him?
By the way, John underperformed Donald Trump in the county that he was elected in. He increased his margin, but underperformed Donald Trump.
Why would you be a better candidate than John James for governor?
I am not a career politician.
He is?
absolutely is. He's running the last 5 elections. He's never been anything but
right, fair
a
enough.
politician. He can say, oh, I worked in my dad's business, what, for a year? Congratulations. That doesn't make you a business expert. And if you believe that the job of governor is to run the business of the state, why would you send a politician there? If you believe that running a business will help move Michigan forward, you have to have people with proven track records. You don't need politicians that try and recreate themselves to be the business person as well as the political figure to run Michigan. I mean, come on.
Well, didn't they say the same thing about Mr. Snyder?
There are people on the Republican side and on the Democratic side that didn't like Rick Snyder. But I'm going to tell you, Rick Snyder did one hell of a job for Michigan. He tackled tough issues. And when the state was done, when Rick Snyder's term was done, we had a budget surplus, of which the Democrats, $900 million, I believe it is, have, what would be the word, Kyle, if I don't use the P word away?
Oh, no, that would be a great one. That's not.
Wasted away? Yeah, we wasted away the $900 million.
Just the Democrats? I mean, Republicans are in charge of the legislature at that time, 1920.
When Rick Snyder left.
Yeah, they had the Senate and the House from 1920, 21, and 22.
Yeah, and they didn't do a great job.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure that
Does someone who wants to be governor have to have some political experience or knowledge?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so what is yours?
Okay, well,
You've never been elected to anything.
I lobbied in Michigan for the businesses that I controlled for over 30 years. All right, I was up in Michigan working with my legislator. At the Capitol. All the time.
Were you a registered?
Detroit Auto Dealers Association, Michigan Auto Dealers Association, the Brain Injury Association of Michigan. I was on the board of Henry Ford Hospital and represented the hospital group up in Michigan, in Lansing. So it's not like Lansing is new to me. Okay, I participate in my community. I am educated on my state, and I believe that I have issues and solutions to issues for the state of Michigan that move it forward. And I just as soon have somebody else do it, but I'm waiting for someone to step up.
All right.
So you jump into the race, potentially. Who's your closest competitor and why?
They're all close. They're all close. You know what? Anybody who absorbs a vote is your closest competitor. And again, make no bones about it. If, in fact, Michigan wants real change, that's educational change that benefits their children, that's tax structures and business regulatory changes that benefit the environment for the people of Michigan to be more successful in, if they want a leaner government that is efficient, that is responsible and responsive to its citizens, then I'm the guy, because while I may not be able to do it 100%, you won't find anybody who works harder or stays more focused on the issues until they are resolved.
Mr. Rinke, so when will you call me and tell me you're running?
Oh, God, Tim, you don't answer the phone when I call now. So
oh, man.
I get voicemail.
You too?
Yeah. Yeah, come on, buddy.
Do I let you off the hook?
What you need to do is you need to give me the hotline or something.
There you go. All right. Mr. Rinke, it's always good to see you. Nice to have you back on Off the Record. And you will call, right? I
will call. And thank you guys for the questions. They're tough issues. And I realize that what I'm proposing is different. But you can't do it in 15 minutes. Every single thing that I'm proposing, there are detailed plans, and they have worked. I'm not smart enough to create my own plans. I'm smart enough to take what works in other places and make it better for Michigan. And that's, if I run, what I would do.
Thank you, sir.
You bet.
All right.